The Prime Minister makes another pitch to the Junkanoo Committee and the Junkanoo community to formulate new plans and ideas of making money. I'm Clint Watson. The stories ahead in the Bahamas Tonight Weekend Edition.
Minister nodded with sharp words for parents as children prepare for school on Monday. I'm Jared Higgs. I've got all the details coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the Weekend Edition.
Now in HD. Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Weekend. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Topping the news, the nation's leader says the country is moving full steam ahead with the new Junkanoo Carnival Festival. And now that the name has been officially changed to incorporate the country's largest cultural expression, the Junkanoo community has been challenged to get on board and take the initiative to the next level. Today, Prime Minister Perry Christie made yet another pitch to the Junkanoo Corporation in New Providence, admonishing them to do what they must to take full advantage of the wave of culture that will begin to sweep the country in May 2015. Here's Clint Watson.
What a difference a name makes. The renamed Junkanoo Carnival Festival settling better with members of the Junkanoo community who were apprehensive to the name Carnival being attached to the country's major cultural expression. Speaking to members of the JCNP conclave at the Hilton Hotel, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie was clear that the Bahamas to date continues to rely on volunteerism and sponsors to fund its number one expression. And now as countries world over make money for their culture, so must the Bahamas.
Every other country in the world have come to understand that culture is a segment of the economy. Culture must work because it is connected to the economy.
Mr. Christie admonished Junkanoo leaders not to allow politics, whether it be in or out of their community, to impede the progress of the festival, which is already attracting the local and international corporate community. People who have never stepped foot on Bay Street are reportedly now interested in taking part. This means the business of costume making, which up until now could not sustain designers and artists, can succeed.
I have made a determination as Prime Minister that I'm going to create a platform for this genius to surface. I saw some costumes designed by Bola and maybe Big Tones. I looked at how they use shells because one of the stipulations that I gave for this was I want to use indigenous materials as much as we can. And I looked at it and I said, these things could sell anywhere in the world.
The promotion of Bahamian music also a key component of Junkanoo Carnival. Within the last 4 years, the government has pumped $64 million into Junkanoo. But Mr. Christie says it's now time to start seeing a return.
My intention is to bring commerce, the economy, into culture in a meaningful way to impact every aspect of culture. In this mix, the biggest stage that Junkanoos have been on will be built, and Junkanoo will be presented to the world. Because we are positioning this with cruise ships, we're positioning it with tour agents, and we're using tourism's marketing dollar to the world. It's going to work. It's going to be massive. And because of the proximity to the markets of the United States of America, it ultimately will be bigger than any other carnival in terms of people flying in.
The reality is the government doesn't plan on going back on its plans to move forward with Junkanoo and institutions like this. And that's why Prime Minister Christie advised Junkanooers to formulate ideas and plans on how they can allow this craft to make money for them. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Now, the Junkanoo Conclave was designed for leaders to strategize on the way forward. The JCNP has been around for a decade now, and according to Chairman Silbert Ferguson, despite the naysayers and challenges, they remain intact. However, he says it's time to move to the next level.
I believe that Junkanoo, as our premier cultural expression, has a role to play in the development of our country. The fact alone that we attract such large numbers of young Bahamians to Junkanoo means that we have a responsibility beyond just going to the parades. I challenge all of us here today to dream about what you want for Junkanoo and what you want Junkanoo to achieve moving forward.
Meantime, key players in local government examining strategies of a different kind. The critical role of local government in nation building, the focus of the Caribbean Association of Local Government Authorities conclave underway here in the capital. Recommendations on sustainable development goals also being discussed at the Nassau-based conclave, which opened today. Addressing delegates, Prime Minister Perry Christie said the United Nations' first goal to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger is crucial to the development of the Caribbean and the Bahamas. He noted that national food security is a priority for the Bahamas, and local government authorities within the Bahamas have made strategic steps to address the issue through the establishment of the Agriculture Marine Science Institute in North Andros. The Prime Minister further noted that a well-oiled local government machinery and structure is vital to this productive economic development.
I'm telling you that you could sit in a conference of this kind and speak to the mechanics of local government. And we must constantly move to improve the mechanics of local government. We must constantly move to delegate more and more authority to local government. We must ensure that we continually have under review its proper functioning as it applies to the people of the country. But you cannot not understand that you have an obligation to know what makes your country works and what you have to do to further the development of your country.
Now, the minister with responsibility for local government, V. Alfred Gray, said this conference is crucial in shaping the way forward for local government in Commonwealth countries.
This conference, as I understand it and as I will be participating in, is going to set the stage for the carrying out of the Millennium Goal of bringing Caribbean countries together and have the prime ministers of CARICOM sanction whatever we conclude at this conference today to advance and approve the Millennium Goal 2015. Now, I believe that it is very true to say that regional bodies such as the Caribbean Conference and the international conferences of local government, their efforts seem to work together well to ensure that every country in the Caribbean is on the same page when it comes to deepening democracy and advancing the cause of local governments throughout the world.
Some strong words for parents and students today as thousands prepare to return to the classrooms. It was the annual New Providence Association of Public High School Principals Parenting Forum put on in conjunction with the Ministry of Education and Commonwealth Bank. Dominating the conversation this year were the issues of discipline and helping to build a sound educational system in the Bahamas. And as Jared Higgs tells us tonight, parents were also urged to play a meaningful role as a new school year begins.
The Minister of National Security, Dr. Bernard Nottage, had one question for parents. Are your children prepared? Addressing parents at the 5th Annual Forum, Dr. Nottage, a former Minister of Education, took parents to task on the role they ought to play in the educational development of their children.
Parents should be an integral part of the schools and should feel a sense of ownership of and obligation to the school system. But I have a tremendous amount of concern today for the quality of that relationship, for the absence of a sense of ownership, for the unwillingness to accept, by parents to accept that they are obligated to ensure that the school is delivering for them and their children what they need to survive in today's world.
Minister Nottage also took the time to note the disparity between males and females, using members of the audience as an example.
I want you all to look around and see how many boys there are. You all can sit down. Could the girls stand up, please? All the girls in the room who are still in school, would you stand?
An overwhelming majority of females were present in the audience, despite the fact that there are almost equal numbers of boys and girls in the school system. Finally, Minister Nottage left parents with these words.
Investment in the children than you. And I beg you, please, the time has come now for parents to take a more meaningful, consistent, continuous role in the education of their children, in the development of their schools, and in the governance of our country. We need you more than you need us.
Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
And still to come in the Bahamas Tonight weekend, the Broadcasting Corporation reaching out to the community in a special way. That story and more straight ahead.